All right, so like I said, we're going to move quickly. And so this is our last topic. CFP rankings come out tonight. And usually, what I do is during the weeks, if you've been here the past couple weeks, I like to recap what happens in the top six the past couple weeks. That's what we've done, and we'll recap what every team did during the week. But there's not much to recap this week. Looking at it, the top five teams, almost all of them had bye weeks. I think Clemson, you can include Wofford. That is a bye week. Let's not say Wofford is an elite team. I know some Clemson fans will try and boost our schedule up. We're playing trash teams, all right? So we're basically on bye week every week, all right? Now that we've established that, LSU, Ohio State,
Oh
and
God.
Alabama and Penn State, they were all on bye week. And so we're going to look forward to tonight and who we think, or at least I think, I don't know if you have any input on this, but who I think should be the top six when it comes to the CFP rankings. And we're going by their criteria of strength of schedule, how they look with the eye test, the statistics, just pure wins and losses. And it is a subjective topic. So, you can be as objective as possible, but at the end of the day, it is your opinion. And I think people forget that this poll is an opinion based uh, argument. So we'll definitely go into my rankings right now. So at number one in the CFP rankings, I got LSU, and that's who I think ultimately they will put number one. But it's also my number one, and I just think because they've beaten three really good opponents in Auburn, Texas, and they beat also, who else did they beat? My mind's drawing a blank here. They beat a third opponent, I know that. Oh, Florida. They beat Florida, who is a top 10 team. All right, they beat three of those opponents. So I definitely think because of that strength of schedule and the way they've looked against their schedule, with the way that they've dominated on offense and looked decent at times. People underrate LSU's defense, I think, a little bit. They were hurt early, and so I definitely think they're finding their stride. I got LSU at one with that. I definitely think the committee will go with LSU at number one just because they put so much emphasis on strength of schedule. At number two, I got Ohio State. I got them above Alabama and Clemson. And the reason I got Ohio State above that is just the eye test and the look at the strength of record, which is, they don't have the highest strength of schedule, which is a different statistic, which is how hard is your schedule. Strength of record is how have they performed against the schedule that they've already played. And when you look at that, they've dominated pretty much every single opponent they've faced. And they haven't faced the greatest opponents, but I definitely think that the 38-7 Wisconsin victory clears them ahead of Alabama and Clemson and puts them at that number two spot because they've looked dominant on defense with Chase Young, who is a Heisman contender, with Justin Fields, who's also a Heisman contender. On both sides, they're playing such well complementary football. And so you look at it, you got to put Ohio State at number two, and you could argue that they're number one, but I wouldn't put them at number one. I'd put them right below LSU at number two. All right, and so at number three, I got Clemson. All right, and you could call me biased that I put them ahead of Bama, but hear me out for a second. We have beaten, I think, out of the 9 opponents we faced, 7 of them are FBS opponents. Now, you can talk about the quality of team all you want, but nobody else has faced that many FBS opponents, beaten that FBS opponents up to this point. All right, we had one close call against UNC. Other than that, what have we done? We have blown every single opponent out by 14 plus. Should be 21 plus, but the Texas A&M game, they score a garbage time touchdown. So don't let that fool you. Some people will look at the like opponent, which is Texas A&M. We've both faced Texas A&M. And they'll say, oh, Alabama beat them by more points. No, they didn't. They beat them by more points because we gave up a last-second touchdown, which was on a 4th down where we blitzed everybody, and it was the end of the game, and it didn't really matter. So I'm definitely putting Clemson above Alabama at number 3 because they've played better complementary football. Our offense isn't where we thought they would be, but they're definitely still up there. You look at all the statistics, they're almost top 5 in every category. And we're starting to find our stride now. And you look at our run game, it's performing. You look at our defense, it's performing better than Alabama. It's just the facts. Look at the statistics. Our defense has played better against the opposition that we've played against than Bama. Bama has shown holes in their defense with their youth, and so I got Bama at number 4. All right, Bama has played really well, but they haven't played as well as these 3 teams that I have ahead of them, and they'll definitely be able to change that as they faced LSU this weekend. All right, they'll have a chance to prove themselves. And Tua Tagovailoa, he's playing amazing. I get that. He's playing better than Trevor, but you have to look at it and you have to say, who is he playing, just like you have to do it for Trevor Lawrence. All right, you got to keep the same energy for both teams because they've both not faced the greatest opponents. And so I definitely got Alabama at 4, and that could change this week, obviously. It'll change. They'll either go down if they lose to LSU, and if they go up and beat LSU, I think they're going to be maybe at the number 2 spot. You might put them ahead of Ohio State. You may even put them at the number 1 spot. So I definitely got them at number 4. Got Penn State right outside at number 5. Again, I need to see more. I need to see them beat Ohio State before I buy into Penn State. They got plenty of talent, but can they do it against the top-tier opponents? We will find out as they face an undefeated Minnesota team this week. And so we'll get a good, test on how good they are. And so at number 6, I got Oregon over Georgia. Those two were competing for number 6. When you look at Georgia, they've played probably the better schedule. But again, they have that unforgivable South Carolina loss. They should not have lost to South Carolina. South Carolina tried to give the game to Georgia, and yet they still couldn't win. And so I got Oregon, who had that last-second loss to Auburn, but ever since then, they've been dominant. They beat USC 56-24 on the road, which I give huge kudos to them because USC is a pretty good home team. And so I got Oregon at 6. I know you don't have too much input on college football, but what do you think of that top 6 from an outsider's perspective?
From an outsider's perspective, honestly, being honest, it's all wrong. For some reason, I don't see Florida State up there.
Oh my gosh!
I don't see Wake Forest up there, but it's like nah.
All right.
Nah, but yeah, it's all fine. It's all good. I agree.
Again, it's all subjective. It's all about what you value, and I definitely think that you could shift these people around. It really doesn't matter at this point. It's all going to play itself out. All these teams, or a couple of these teams, play each other. LSU plays Alabama. Ohio State's going to play Penn State. And so it's going to play itself out. And Oregon will probably play Utah in the Pac-12 championship if they run the table. So everything will work itself out. People want to jump to conclusions with their first top 4. Hold on a second. Mississippi State, when 2014, the first year of the playoff came out, they were number 1. All right, they ended up losing 3 games. So no matter what you or I think, it's going to play itself out. All right, college football is beautiful in that it's almost like it always will work itself out. Like it has a brain of its own. Like there are gods reigning over college football. They're like, hold on, wait a second. Everything will work out in the end. If you think a team is better, eventually they'll show it. All right, so that's my top 6. And so I think that's what we're going to wrap up with. So click the like button if you like the video. Click the subscribe button down below if you're new. And also hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload or a stream.